Kalani is about to come on and just blow your mind to give you the highest return on life. Yeah, investment, yes. Life, even more important. This dude has accomplished a lot in his lifetime, and you definitely want to stay tuned. It's going to be a powerful interview. Before that, I'm talking to you. You're becoming your greatest possible self. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to show up and take every step that you can, every single day, to take one step at a time to be the best version of yourself you can be. Thank you for being here. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and this week it's by M. Davis777. Very inspirational and educational. This is the podcast to listen to if you're looking for both inspiration and education on a variety of topics to help you be the best you can be. M. Davis777, thank you so much for that review. We appreciate you so much. If you want a chance to get shouted out on a future 12-hour live stream marathon and podcast with the review of the week, go to beergps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on the Apple Podcast Store. Thank you for doing that. And while you're there, subscribe so you can get all the latest episodes and updates. I'm going to introduce Kalani in just a second here. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes. This is going to be a powerful interview. This dude is like ignited, and you can feel it in the energy. His conversations are so powerful. The dude's just so freaking blissed out of his mind. Stay tuned. This is going to be a powerful interview. Kalani Vale. By the time he was 6, he had been recruited into the infamous gang, the Chicago Dragons. His amazing journey includes escaping gang life, being a top producing commercial real estate agent, and buying his first shopping center at the age of 23. It's freaking nuts, man. He moved on to become the #1 corporate trainer for Anthony Robbins and spoke on peak performance and success. His clients included American Express, Colonial Insurance, Smith Barney, ReMax, Century 21, and BMW. And currently, Kalani is the president and CEO of Team 212 Inc. With over 300 clients and over $50 million under his management. Having helped hundreds of people increase their ROI, he felt there was a silent hole missing in many of their conversations. Later on, he realized what this gap was. It was return on life. There are plenty of stories of unhappy, wealthy people, rotten kids, and personal conflicts, health issues, and trauma. And in his book, he shares the relationship between money and the things that truly matter to us all, life. He discusses the 7 life funds you have to invest in so that you can live a life of passion and purpose. And that is just the tip of the iceberg with this epic human being. Kalani, are you ready to bring it, bro?
Yes.
Bring
yes,
it. We are live on Become Your Greatest Possible Self. My man, thank you for being here, Kalani. Let's dive right in. The theme of today is patterns of transformation. What does that mean for you, bro?
Yes. So, how you doing, Chris?
Dude,
Glad to be here, man.
I'm blessed, dude. We're diving right in. We're unleashing, baby.
Great. So let's start. Let's get going.
We're in it, man. We're in it. The theme today is patterns of transformation. What does that mean for you?
Oh, for me, pattern transformation. I'm sorry, I got
good.
Yeah, pattern of transformation. That's one thing I love to do when I'm speaking on stage. I want to make sure that as I speak, I use the correct words to transform the audience into a new pattern of being and behaving. Because one of the things I like to do, because people always focus on return on investment, which is ROI,
right,
return on their money. But people don't realize everyone has their specific life funds. If you're married, your spouse is an actual fund that you should invest in, right? Because if you don't invest in that fund's going to go bankrupt. If you have kids, you know, invest in that fund. Yeah. If you're faith, you're going to have invest in that fund. All too often, I find people with, not very good patterns. So the patterns of transformation could be also negative if you're doing the wrong things. Like, I know people that they work out all the time. They're in great shape, but financially they're broke. I know other people who are they're wealthy beyond means, but their health is not good at all. Yeah. I mean, what's the use of having all this money if you can't even spend it? And that's, unfortunately, a lot of my clients are like that. They're worth millions of dollars, and they have not taken care of themselves. They just focus on working. And so I have a client right now who's worth over $100 million, and she's alone. And so it's like she didn't really invest in her friend's fund. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. And so that's where the pattern transformation. So you got to really see. Most of you guys on this, you're listening. You are wealthy. If you just look at one of your life funds, a financial fund, of course you're going to compare. Right. And that's really not a good place to be, to compare yourself to others. But if you look at what do you really have? There's a lot of other things you're actually successful at. So that's one of the things that I really look at.
Dude, I love it. I love it. So you're being successful with finances, with investing, helping your clients. You coach for Tony Robbins. You're doing so much like
Yes.
in the world today, man. Let's go back into the journey and talk about what were some of those biggest lessons and things that you picked up along the journey to get to where we are today, man.
It's interesting because I talk about, I came to the mainland USA when I was like 2.5 years old, and I moved into that. We moved right next. It was a duplex right next to the housing projects in Chicago, and it was interesting. I mean, you definitely knew you were not in a good area, but the craziest thing is you didn't know you were different. You didn't know you were not safe because you had so many people to protect you, and we had two parts of the game. There was the people who were 14 years and older, like the Dragons. Right. It's actually a Puerto Rican gang. And if you're 13 and younger, you're actually called the Pee Wee Dragons, right? Oh my God. So, yeah, it's so crazy. And believe it or not, gangs actually have a hierarchy. They have leadership.
I believe it.
And the stronger the leadership, you actually hit the gang grows and they stay in line. And that was my first exposure to actually leadership. Wow. I always like to joke around. If I stayed in Chicago, either two things. I'd either be dead, in jail, or three things: dead, jail, or I'm actually the leader of the gang. Right? Yeah. So the journey is, and that's what I realize now, Chris, that drove me to success. Yeah. Because I knew at a very early age we were poor. And then coming here to California, and man, going from Chicago to California, I came to California in the 5th grade. Wow. There's so much abundance here. And when you don't have abundance, you're poor. Right. So I realized looking back, that drove me to have super ambition. And I always thought that if I was successful, I never really fit in life. So I developed an early thought pattern. I thought that if you had money, if you were successful, people would like you. Now, interesting enough, as I grew up, Chris, it wasn't money that became my God. It was actually the way you look, outside. Yeah. If you look, if you're rich and you had money, you had material things, people would like you. And it's very, unfortunately, right, you have to realize that, when you have the things, friends are there. When you don't have the things, the real friends will show up. Wow. Right? And so going back to that journey, at an early age, I developed some bad habits where even though I was successful, I had my value and my opinion in your head. Not a good way to live. And so, Chris, back in 2009, very successful, had several offices, a lot of financial planners working for me. I had to file bankruptcy. And so that was probably the hardest thing I had to go over, to go through, but it was the best thing because I was stripped of my pride and ego. And I realized you don't need to be wealthy to have good friends and good relationships, because I was not investing in my friends. I was not investing in my family. I was a single dad. I became a single dad, right? I was not investing correctly because why? I was still focused on, just becoming successful. And I only would hang around with you if you were successful. Right. Right. So so that's going way back then. Yeah,
that's powerful, man. So I hear you really got the lesson of what other people think of you. It's not doesn't matter, right? Your self-image, your self-worth, being able to go to sleep with yourself every night and ask yourself, how did you do? How did you show up? That was important, but also you got to see the litmus test of who's really a friend, who have you really invested into, and who actually cares about you. And that was when you had to file bankruptcy, and it was like this moment where everything was gone except for the things that were the deepest roots, which were your friends and your relationships, man.
And I became such a better dad at that time because I was home more often. And that was one of the things that was tearing me apart, because as you're building a business, and I'm out there building a business, but I want to be home with my kids. I have twins, a boy and a girl, and when I'm home, I want to be outside, killing in business. So it's always so torn. But when I actually I was not able to afford my image anymore, I was finally able to really be at peace. And realize, relationships, and investing in my kids, investing in my parents, investing in my friends. And Chris, I had one friend that was with me that whole time.
Wow.
One friend that showed up and just was there to nurture me. If it wasn't for her, I don't think I'd be here today. And it's funny. It's interesting how the real friends show up at your direst needs. Her name was Ruby Anchetta. And I'm telling you, without her, I mean, I owe so much to her because she just poured her life into me. And then I contacted another friend of mine that had lost us for 2 years. We started becoming close again. And every Friday, she would take me to this place called the Healing Room, where I would get prayer every Friday.
Yes.
Chris, for 2 years, I went every Friday, and little by little, I started getting my confidence back, started getting my soul back, started getting my stamina, my ambition back, because man, I had lost a lot of it because I valued my self-worth on the money that I had and the money that I was making. You know, when you go from $500,000 a year to $50,000 a year, it really messes you up. But it's just put stuff on paper. But I realized when I had nothing is when I was most happiest. Isn't it interesting? I had more peace. Very interesting, right?
How do you keep that peace when you built the wealth back up again? Like, how did you make sure that you kept that foundation strong so that you're fulfilled and not concerned with the external stuff?
It took a good 2 years to finally really destroy that pride and ego inside of me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the journey wasn't easy going back up to building wealth again, because I was actually afraid of wealth.
Yeah.
I was afraid of actually being on stage again because of all the attention I would have got. I was afraid of becoming that person that I was. And luckily, my best friend today is Vivian. Her name is Vivian. And I was telling her, Vivian, I'm afraid to actually go back on stage and build this business again because I don't want to become a person that I was before. And she said something so amazing. She says, well, Kalani, you're not that person anymore. But at that moment in time, I forgave myself, Chris. It wasn't until I forgave myself and stopped judging myself that I was able to be free. So even though now, because before the image and the money had a hold of me, today it doesn't. And that was the biggest thing. And so once you're able to let go of that, you can actually build wealth and not have it own you. And you can also remember, because I don't ever want to go through that again. And so I make it a point to really build that transformation where you focus. I call it the $1 million sequence, $1 million life sequence, where you invest in your faith. You're married, you invest in your spouse. Then you invest in your kids. Then you invest in your business. Then you invest in your friends. It's all how you invest in the correct sequence. You can actually have everything. You can have every life fund fully funded. And that's where we all want to be, right? Yeah. We want to have our spouse fund funded. We want to have our kid fund funded. We want to have our higher power fund funded. We want to have everything funded, right? Because you can do it. Right. You can definitely do it, right? If you're conscious of it, you can do it. Yeah.
So is that understanding what activities, behaviors drive the fund to increase? Like how does someone know like which fund needs the attention and how to give it the attention it needs?
The one thing I learned when I was with Anthony Robbins, we actually learned, because we were required to do 2 motivational speeches a day. So, and I was crazy.
That's intense, dude.
I was doing 4 or 5 a day. I was crazy. I just got to be number 1, right? And so, but what we would do, we would actually live our life in 2-week chunks. And so he would always be big on chunking your schedule. And so we want to make sure that for every 2 weeks, we'd always have a full schedule, because we only made money by actually selling tickets. We would go and speak, right? And as we speak, we'd sell tickets at the end of the and then we make money commission on the tickets sold. And the better speaker you are, the better closer you are, you actually sell more tickets, right? Because you get you people in the audience, you become experts in creating emotions where they want to attend the events, right? Because they're going to see value in it. And so I'd always make sure for 2 weeks, my schedule was booked. And so now let's say tomorrow's going to be Thursday. Let's say I had a cancellation tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I would call my next Thursday appointment at 10 o'clock and move it up. So I always have 1 week full schedule. Right. And so what that taught me is, if you can think on paper, really schedule your life, schedule the times to invest in your spouse. It doesn't really take much, Chris. One of the things I realize people don't realize in terms of investing, if a 2% let's take a 401k,
Mm-hmm.
for example, right? If a 401k, people don't realize this, in most 401ks, they have what's called like hidden fees.
Right.
Now, if you don't believe me, go to YouTube and look up 401k hidden fees. All kinds of things. Even 60 Minutes did actually undercover report on the hidden fees of 401ks.
Wow.
But what I'd like to give you an analogy, for example, a 2% fee, 2% fee wipes out 60% of your performance.
Wow.
60%, that's crazy.
That's nuts.
So what I like to do is if you look at this, if you take the hours of the week, right? If you break it down, how many hours you have a week, if you break down how many minutes you have, if you take 2% of your weekly minutes is actually about 220 minutes.
Wow.
So if you think about this, if you want a 60% rate of return higher on your health, can you invest maybe 220 minutes a week to your health? That's 2% of your time. That's it. If you think of it that way, it's very simple, right? Think about it. If you think it's 220 minutes is really what is that? That's like, you can go to the gym. You know, what I like to do is chunk it. If you can invest 220 minutes every 2 weeks, what does that come out to? That's like you work out 3 times 90 minutes a week, 30 minutes a week, right? Like, so you can do something with your spouse. Can you do date night? How about your kids? Invest the 2% every single week. It doesn't take much to create $1 million life. It doesn't. It doesn't take much to fully fund your life fund. It doesn't. People think, I got to spend 2 hours here, 3 hours there. No, you have to have the intention of fully being present when you do invest that time into your best friend, and then how about your passion? I have a fund that's called the Heart Fund. What's in your heart, right? What's your PPC? Your purpose, passion, calling. What's that thing that God put in your heart to be successful at, right? Maybe you might be working 40 hours a week, but can you invest your 2% a week into that purpose, that passion? Yep. Can you invest, your 202 minutes a week into your pack every single week, and boom, before you know it, you're doing what you love to do and making money from it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just got to get started. It's like the side hustle mentality, It's like, I don't know who made it popular, but I think Gary Vee talks about you have the first 9 to 5, and then you have the second 5 to 9. From 5 to 9 p.m. Like that's the next block of time where what you do in that shapes and determines your destiny. I think that's so powerful to recognize that.
Yeah, what you do from 9 to 5 pays your bills. What you do from 5 to 9 creates wealth.
Yes, yes. I love it. Kalani, I'm curious. I had a question. I know that there's a lot of connections today with social media, and even as a business owner, our objective is to be creating new leads, new clients, new opportunities for us. How do we know where to invest our time in building relationships with friends, and how much time to spend there? Because ideally, we would spend an hour a week with every single person who we ever meet. How did you be successful at that, or what would you recommend around that?
Well, that's a great question, because if you take my life, for example, right? I can count on my hands the 2 or 3 people that are really invest in my life. These are the people that I hang around with all the time, that are really good for me. They're a very positive role model. And outside of that, I have pastors, I have business owners that are really good friends of mine. They're very high end, very successful in the business world, that I'll invest maybe once a month, or we go to lunch, right? I have mentors. It's like, once again, taking that schedule and really investing the right time and priority, right? Of course, if you're married, you want to invest in your wife, invest in your kids. It's always put them priority. But I have a couple best friends that I like to invest in quite a bit. And then for business people, that flows depending what I need at the time for my business. Like tomorrow, I have a 2-hour call with a person that's going to help us get on stages more, so I can speak, to get my brand out, right? And yesterday, I spent 3 hours with a social media expert, right? So that's 3 hours of my time yesterday, right? And so we're looking to see we're going to work together. And so that doesn't happen every single week, right? But as life flows, as you're trying to create, you just listen to your gut feel, listen to God, and see which people you need to invest in. Because for some of the things, you need to invest in people to also see that's not the right person, right? You got to see it. You got to talk to them. But you're not going to know that until you actually maybe spend time with them on the phone or in person to see what type of skill sets they have to get you to the next level. Because really, what's it about, right? And so, yeah, the one thing, Chris, I'm very, very picky of who I spend time with.
Yeah.
Because I get all the time, every day, hey, Kalani, can I take you to lunch? Can I take you to this? Can you do this? Hey, can you join this new MLM? Can you know what? And I always say, I always remember what Steve Jobs said about building Apple. Yeah. He says, Apple is successful today, not because of all the things we said yes to, but all the thousands of things we said no to.
Wow.
So I only say yes if it's going to get me to where I want to go. Yeah. And that's where the thing is. That's where I go back to your PPC fund, purpose, passion, calling. You got to get clarity on what that actually is. And here's the thing. Your purpose and passion, it might scare you. Because, well, how do I make money doing this? I have a job that I hate. But I have this purpose and passion, this calling that I want to, build this online business. Or I want to build this dog business. I want to build this other business, right? That's your purpose, your passion. Well, you know what? It's supposed to scare you, right? But just eat the elephant one chunk at a time.
Yep.
And you invest your time correctly with people that are going to help you. Yeah. So you just got to be very wise with your time and who you. And also, if someone is not going to, if the rate of return is not going to be good for you and your time, you have to cut it off right away. Yeah. You have to stop investing in that person. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. This is your second book
that
you are launching. Can you tell us a little bit more about the first book and what was the process about writing that?
First book was very, very healing. It was called Superhero Single Dad. Yes, what I wrote about was my life growing up. I wrote about how, I was a millionaire at one time. Then with the market crash in 2008, 2009, I went down to nothing. Luckily, I was able to save my house, right, and start building my wealth back up. I built my practice as a couple with my kids. Then I lost everything. Then I started building my wealth back up as a single dad. And as a single dad, as a full-time single dad of, at that time, they're 4-year-old twins, boy and a girl. It was like, whoa, it was really hard, Chris. But one thing it did is so amazing, because I'm so scared of having people watch my kids. So I took my kids to all my appointments. They learned about investing. They met all my clients. You know what happened?
That's amazing.
Since my clients saw my kids and they saw what I was going through, that connection I built with my clients was so special.
Wow.
Because they saw the struggle I was going through. They saw my kids, and they saw I was a real person. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so that actually took my business skyrocketed because of that.
Wow.
You see how what the devil uses to try to destroy you, what God uses to actually uplift you and just catapult you.
Yes.
And so it was absolutely amazing. I didn't see it at the time because it was so hard.
Oh yeah.
I look back, wow. It's today, because the business I get, it's all referrals, literally. And I get big accounts, 300,000, 500,000 here, 800,000 here. It's like, it's amazing. It's like nothing for me. Or people will struggle for accounts like this, right? Like today, I just got an account for $190,000. Yeah, it's great. Very easy, right? very easy, very simple.
Yes, yes.
When you're blessed, and when your business own you, you just get referrals, you get blessed even more. Wow. Yes. Yeah.
I love it, man. So what was the decision to make this second book? When did you decide I need to write a second book?
Because the first book was Superhero Single Dad, and I didn't really want to keep saying Superhero Single Dad. I wanted to become married one day, right? And so I'm very big on what you say, you create.
Yes.
So that book actually took second place in the Christian Writers Award, which was really awesome.
Wow.
So the cool thing is now, and I started learning, I listened to Brendan Burchard at the time, and he was saying the brand you create, you're going to have to realize you have to run with that brand for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And it wasn't the brand that I really want to run with, Chris.
Right.
It didn't really talk everything about me, because Superhero Single Dad only talked about my life and building my wealth back up, but it didn't talk about how investing was in my heart, in my blood. And so luckily, a friend of mine created this very high-end mastermind group that we meet in Hollywood all the time. And there's 5 very successful entrepreneurs that she invited me, and we'd meet every Thursday in Hollywood. at Chateau Marmont. Very nice restaurant where all the stars go to, right? Every Thursday we'd meet in Hollywood for 2 hours. And in this group was a guy named Clifton Anderson. He used to be the CFO of a $2 billion company. And he was having trouble. This was right around 2015, right? Because my first book was published 2014. So 2014, I already wanted to write this new book, my real brand. And Clifton was having problems with his brand because he wanted to be a high-end coach. So he came over to my house, and it was so, because when you're working your own brand, it's hard to see. Because it's hard to see the beautiful part. It's hard to see the beauty in the painting if you're in it, right? So since he was in it, he couldn't see. So I was able to see what he needed, and we created an amazing brand for him, right? And then, because it was my turn, he goes, Kalani, when I see you, I see something about you and investing in people's lives, like return on investment, return on life. Boom, return on life.
Wow.
Yeah, it was created right there. So it totally resonated with me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's it. But it took another 5-6 years because there's some things I had to live out to actually put into the book. Because the book has 7 life funds, and some of the life funds weren't even lived out yet for me to write about it. It wasn't until maybe just 2 years ago where I was actually to live out each fund. Now it was finally finished. It was actually finished in January of 2019. We finally got it published and got created to where it was actually launched just last month. And so it was amazing. And so now this is the brand I want to run with. This is me. And so I'm so excited because now this is a year to really launch me and this brand onto stages. How to help people fill their life funds to activate the highest returns of their life to really have the best life they can have and be. Because you can have everything. You can.
Yes. Yeah. So let's start diving into what we need to know about the life funds, the book, man. What else should we know about like really getting those returns on life, man? How do we do that?
It's interesting because what I was downloaded was each fund actually starts with an H. The first fund is actually called your health fund. Okay. The health fund talks about your actual health, right? And luckily for me, I have some really good friends. His name is Dr. Douglas Harrington. He's a world-renowned heart doctor. And his best friend was also a heart doctor and died of a massive heart attack right in front of him. A heart doctor died of a heart attack.
Wow.
Chris, I don't know if you know this or not, but did you know that most heart attacks, people that die from heart attacks, they have perfect cholesterol? People don't know that. Did you also know that most women die of heart attack? Yes. So Dr. Doug, he spent about $30 million creating a new protocol. He actually has a test called the Pulse test, P-U-L-S test. So if you guys want to go to pulsetest.com, P-U-L-S test.com. He created a test that actually can pinpoint within a very precise accuracy if you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke in the next 5 years. Dang. This test has won awards. Now, thousands and thousands of doctors now give this test to their patients now to look. And it's saved literally thousands of people's lives because the test today, the old test couldn't see the heart disease. This test can literally see the chance of having probability of a heart attack or stroke in the next 5 years. And they don't realize 80% of a heart disease is actually reversible if you get it early.
Wow.
So it's amazing what this test has done. That's number one fund is your health fund, because if your heart is healthy, my gosh, you're going to be good, right? Yes. And so that's the first fund. It's on the H. The second fund is now the heart fund. This is the health fund. Now it's the heart fund, right?
Okay.
The heart fund, once again, what's in your heart to create? Everyone, when you were born, you had dreams, right? You had this purpose that was given to you, that's placed inside your head and your heart, and it's never left you. A lot of people listen to this podcast or this call tonight. You have this dream, and it's never left you. You might be working, making good money at this job. For a perfect example, I have a friend named Rena Bartolome. She had like 8 mortgage offices. She owned like 30 properties, and she was miserable. She realized her whole life she wanted to sell jewelry. That's what she wanted to do. That was her passion. She wanted to create jewelry and sell jewelry. She left everything, left her mortgage business, left everything. She started all over again from nothing. Today, her jewelry is over 200 stores. Yes, it's amazing.
Dang.
Just follow that passion and it will be blessed, right? And so that's what's, you guys, you can do it. Once again, take your 2% of your time, which is 202 minutes every single week. You invest in that purpose, passion, calling, right? And one of the next funds actually now is your honey fund. Your honey, right? Your girlfriend, your spouse, your fiance, right? You got to learn their love language and you got to feed it. And most of the time, you know, you read that book, The 5 Love Languages, the person you fall in love with, they're not going to have the same love language. Right? It's going to be totally different. Yeah. So if you know their love language, you have to invest in their love language to really make sure, and also, and learn about, you know, one thing I just learned about, how we develop our, the ways we love as we get older. You have to really work on yourself to really learn your insecurities and bring them on to your partner, right? That way, and really be patient. And for men, you know, you got to control that anger, right? Also control that envy, because that can destroy relationships so fast. And so, how do you invest in your honey, right? Your honey fund the correct way. And think about it: 202 minutes. That's just a date night every week, every 2 weeks. You have to do it every week, but at least do it once a month, right? If you invest that way and you invest in the right love language, oh my gosh, it's amazing what you can create.
Yeah. Plus it's like that time, there's all these areas of life that we could be working on together, whether it's health, whether it's heart, whether it's, you know, whatever else there might be. Like me and my girlfriend, we sit down, we do a financial like accountability every week. We look at our finances together. We communicate about that stuff, right? So even that is like spending time together and having sometimes really tough conversations, right? We do weekly reviews, relationship reviews that's focused on our relationship. So there's a ton of opportunities. We do date nights. Just like make it a priority, like you said, man. 2%.
You know, Chris, that's amazing, because that behavior pattern right there is actually such a successful behavior pattern, because you can have that's like a wealth. You're actually investing in her, correct? You're investing in each other. Yeah. Right? Yep. That's amazing skill set you're developing for each other. Oh, having that. Because think about it, most people, they get divorced because of money. Yeah. Because they don't talk about it. Yep. You can have an honest conversation without getting angry, without giving up your ego and pride. Because think about it, when you argue about money, it's all about ego and pride. Yep. Get rid of that, you can have you can connect at such a higher level. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So which is great. So and the next fund is the homie fund, your homies. Yes. Okay? How do you invest in your friends? Because at the end of the day, take an example. Look at Robin Williams. I loved when I heard he passed away. Right. Oh my gosh, he was one of my favorite. He was wealthy. He was loved. Yep. He was cherished. But you know, it's interesting. I mean, what caused him to actually take his own life, right? And so, you know, how do you invest in your friends? Because at the end of your life, it's really the relationships you build are really worth millions of dollars, right? And so, I wouldn't give that up for anything, right? And so that's also like a love language, right? What is love language? Is, you know, quality time. If that's your love language, you got to invest that, right? So that's, you know, that's one of another fun, Chris. And then
now, before you jump into the next one, I love that you said the love language about the homies, because you can do it for your spouse, but if you know the love language of your friends, like that's influence gold. Saying like, hey, if we're gonna be spending this time together, what is the best way that I can serve you? I can love you. I can be here with you, that you love to experience. Like everyone who's important to us, we need to learn their love language, how they see the world, and how we can like give them love, man.
Completely. Yeah. And with your kids, like I have twins, right? A boy and a girl. Completely different. My son's quality time. He needs quality time. He wants to spend time with me. Yeah. My daughter is encouraging words, right? She needs that, because the things I say to her, I could destroy her, right? But I can actually be hard on my son. It doesn't bother him as long as I have quality time with them. Wow. And so you have to find out. And there's a great book that, you know, 5 love languages for teenagers. Ooh. Yeah, it's a great book. You should also read that. For ones who have young kids, you can read that. Wow. And love languages changed, because when I was younger, my love language was encouraging words. I actually, right now, my love language is acts of service. I love doing things for people.
Wow.
And when people do things for me, I feel so loved, Chris. It's
That's awesome.
yeah. So I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Dude, that's gold. Okay, so we have, just want to recap. We have health, we have heart, we have honey, we have homie. What is the fifth one?
Yeah, and then the next house is actually your, going back to the kid, is your home life fund. Oh, what is your, how do you invest in your home?
Yeah.
Right? Because right now, I'm a single dad. My kids they're 16 years old. It's interesting because we're not as close as we used to be. Because why? They want to hang out with their friends now.
They want independence, man.
Yeah, they want their independence. It's like, wow. So I'm having a little separation anxiety right now. I talk to all my other parents' friends. It's completely normal. And one thing, my mentor, June De La Cruz, when I was younger, just building my financial firm, this is before I even had kids. He said, and the mom of my kids was actually pregnant at the time. He says, Kalani, you're going to appreciate the car rides with your kids.
Wow.
Because those car rides, Chris, are magical. Those are actually the times when my kids actually talk to me. Those car rides, those 15-minute car rides are just gold. Where I can pour into them, they can pour into me, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where I always wanted to be, Chris. This is one thing. One of my agents was talking to another one of my agents, and my agent, Jared, was complaining to the other agent. He was saying, yeah, you know what? My parents were never there for me when I was growing up. This other agent said, you know what, Jared? I didn't have that life. My parents were always there for me growing up. And this is interesting, Chris. This is when my kids were just little. That statement literally developed my life, because all I want to do as my kid grew up, I just wanted to say Daddy was there.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So, Chris, no matter how hard it was for me, I always took my kids to school. I always picked them up.
Wow.
Always. I always wanted, because I never had that. I never really saw my parents growing up. They were never around. And I'm telling you, being there for them for those 2 car rides was amazing. I never missed a practice, never missed a game, because my parents never came to my games. They were always working. And so I know how that feels. I want to support them, right? So that's why the home life fund, how you invest in your home, right? Some of you guys might not have a great home right now, but you know what? Take the time. You can do it, right? Just eat the elephant one chunk at a time, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so that's that's 5 funds, right?
Yeah.
And so now, actually, there's 8 funds, but I'll go. The next fund is actually now your financial house fund. Is a home, that house.
Mm-hmm.
The house fund, now I talk about, hey, investing. People don't realize this, Chris. There's actually 2 tax codes. Tax code 101 and tax code 7702. If you're going to invest your money, where do you want to invest your money? Do you want to invest it into a fund that's taxed now, taxed later, or taxed never?
Tax never.
Right? You actually need a combination of all 3 to actually have a complete plan, because tax now actually gives you liquidity. Tax later gives you tax deduction, but tax later is where you want the bulk of the money.
Yeah.
Those 2 tax codes allow your money to go tax free.
Wow.
So talk about, hey, building your financial house. If you're going to build your financial house, why don't you put the chunk of your money into a tax-free account? That way, when you do, retire, you don't have to worry about taxes. Right. That's your financial house, right? Man. Yes. And then the next fund is actually called the humanitarian fund. So once you make all the money, how are you going to give back? And Chris, in my book, I talk about this guy named John Odie. When I suffered my bankruptcy in 2009, I was distraught. And so one thing I didn't realize this, but every Friday, every Friday, I would volunteer my time at this place called Grateful Hearts. What they would get you going around and pick up when the food is about to expire, the meat and the bread and milk, they would go around and pick up all the expiring meat and produce from the 6 different grocery stores, and they would bring it into Grateful Hearts. We'd package it up and give it to people who didn't have much. And Chris, it'd break my heart every week to see who was in line. Veterans were in line. Single moms were in line. Oh my gosh, you would not, why are you in line? They don't even have food. They're so grateful. There's some of the best people in the world, right? I gotta tell you, every Friday I had to go back into the bathroom and just start crying because it would break my heart, right? And so, but one thing I learned from there is when you actually when you're feeling depressed and down, the best thing you can do to snap out of it is help someone else less fortunate.
Yeah.
Volunteer your time. And that healed me,
Wow.
right? And so that would, I'd be going to getting the healing room, getting prayer in the morning. Then I'd go volunteer. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I'm really becoming a better man, better person.
I'm curious, Kalani, how would you recommend our audience finds those great opportunities to volunteer at? How do they find that on their?
And if you can, go to gratefulhearts.com.
Okay.
You can go. There's so many charities out there that you can just volunteer your time, and it will heal you. Literally heal you. If you're depressed, you're taking action for one. And another thing is you're seeing people who are grateful and they have nothing. Nothing, Chris.
No.
They're happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're happy as they can be. Where we're complaining about, I got this $5,000 house I got to pay, 5,000 square foot house I got to pay for every single month, right? Complaining about that. It's like, geez, right? It's like, man,
terrible.
Yeah, right. It's geez, it's crazy. It's like, yeah, I complain about getting too many clients. It's like, geez, right? And so these people just want to be loved. They want to be, they want to feel like there's somebody you can pour into their lives, And so, and that's where the humanitarian, but how much are you giving away? And this is where I met John Odie. It's so interesting how I met him because he would help me bag the groceries. And Chris, the reason why I call him the richest man in the world, because I got to know John very well. Every Friday we get together and bag groceries for everybody. And one day I was speaking. I was speaking for a company. And there's a place called the Toyota Museum in Torrance. Where they have all the old Toyotas in the museum. And I was speaking there to about a couple hundred people, and they had dinner that night. So I invited, hey John, I want you to come to where I'm speaking so you can actually have dinner, right? And actually it was May 30th, and John, it was my birthday, and John gave me this really raggedy white envelope. He wrote a letter in the envelope. He says, "Happy birthday, Kalani, my brother in Christ." He gave me a $5 bill. And John, I started crying. You don't realize this or not, I forgot to tell you, John Odie was actually homeless. He was living in his car. And here he is. He took the time to find an old, dilapidated, envelope with a little note on a piece of paper that was really dirty. He gave me $5. Probably the last $5 he had. Richest man in the world to me. I was like choking up before I went on stage. Like, wow, that guy he gave back to me, right? So what can you do? It doesn't take much to give back. It doesn't. You know what? Right? People go, when I have this, I'm gonna give back. No, you be now, and you be, do, have. Be that person. You'll do it, then you'll have it. Not the other way around, right? Because I have it, then I'll do it, then I'll be it. No, be, do, have, right?
Yeah.
That's humanitarian fun.
Yeah, and just to like reiterate that, I think in the Bible it even says, Jesus talks about the woman who, I don't know if she gave like a couple coins or something to him or something like that, and he said she gave more than every other rich person who only gave a percentage, because that was like all that she had, so it's like the willingness to give our best stuff to people, like that is it is a demonstration of our connection with the divine, like our infinite being, because material stuff that'll all leave us when we're gone, but like what are we going to leave behind in our generosity and how we made people feel,
Exactly.
I love
Chris, the last fund is the higher power fund, right? And so very interesting, because people cannot tell me that prayer does not work. The higher power fund is about prayer. And so let me give you this is a true story. My brother tried to commit suicide 5 times, Chris. 5 times.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, each time he was actually, at the last 4 times, he actually was dead. And I literally prayed over him and asked Jesus to give him one more chance, and boom. Within minutes, he like revived from the dead, man.
Dude.
It's absolutely amazing. I don't care. We can have debate. We can always agree to disagree. There is a higher power out there. Once you access this higher power, and especially access it with your purpose, passion, and calling, you have faith,
Mm-hmm.
Man, faith can literally move mountains. Now my brother, my brother actually, I go, Ray, you need to start talking about that because 5 times, Ray, he didn't take you. You have a purpose here. And my brother is an amazing, he's an amazing writer, science fiction writer. He's an amazing writer. Because you know what? You're supposed to write a book. You're supposed to go speak about because he would tell me, because Kalani, I don't even know when I'm trying to commit suicide. It would just happen. That's like a demon taking over him, right? Yeah. Man. And so now he finally posted the first time he tried to commit suicide on Facebook.
Wow.
So now, because I told him, guys, that's the thing. When you keep your shame a secret, it destroys you. Once you start talking about it, it becomes your $1 million testimony, because now your shame, when you start talking about it into a testimony, it unlocks everyone else. While it unlocks everyone else, what happens to you, you're freed now from it. Because now it no longer becomes shame. Now it becomes inspiration for you to inspire others. And now you're free because you shed light on it. You let everyone else into your pain, and then your shame goes away. Now it becomes inspiring, where other people now are released and transformed to their purpose, passion, and calling. It's amazing. It's amazing that higher power fund, if you invest in it, just invest in it, right? Yeah, you don't have to have a perfect prayer. Just talk. Right?
Yeah, it's like the seeking, right? It's honest, sincere seeking of a relationship with whatever that higher power is, right? God, source, creator, universe, whatever we want to call it, like Mother Nature. It doesn't matter, but
exactly.
Yeah, it's this bigger entity that I feel like if we give it reverence, then our lives are better. We don't have to pretend like we're in control of the entire world, of the entire universe. Like, that's not our job here. Our job is to live our gifts, our purpose, our passion, our calling, and share that with people, man.
Yes, completely. Yes. And look, the life funds are, everyone here, you're going to have different funds where some life funds are more funded than others.
Right.
But just take a look at it. And the saying, the truth is like surgery, it hurts you but heals you. Yeah. But take an inventory of where your life funds are at. Because some of the life funds, you're not even investing in at all. And you're going to go bankrupt, right? You're not getting a rate of return at all. And I see it all too often. I know doctors, they're out of shape. Doctors.
Yep.
Right? I know some financial advisors that are broke. Right? And so it's interesting, right? And so I know people who sell real estate but don't even own any real estate. So it's interesting. And so just take stock of where you are, and there's no judgment. You know what? If you want to get to where you need to be, just once again, eating the elephant one step at a time, one bite at a time. Invest. Take your 2% every week. Invest in those life funds that are not being funded, and watch. In 12 months, oh my gosh, you can create an amazing life. Think about it. What would it be like to have all life funds fully funded? My gosh, then you have this peace, right? That's all we want. We want peace, right? That's all we want. Yeah. I know, Chris, you met people that have peace, right? I want what he has, that peace.
Yes.
Right?
It's just a little bit every week, just focusing on, let's say, the 220 minutes in each of these areas, and that is watering the garden. That is pruning the weeds. That is doing the basics that creates the great life. But we got to dedicate ourselves, commit, decide, and follow through and execute on whatever that is. Put it in our schedule, execute on it, ask for support if we need it, whatever we need.
And Chris, it's not even 200. It's actually 202 minutes. But it's not even 202 minutes every week. It's every 2 weeks. Look, you live your life in 26 chunks. 26 chunks. Man, you could do it. You could invest in every life fund every 14 days. You can definitely do it. It's not that hard. You can do it. I'm living proof you can actually do it. Right? You can have it all. Yes. You can have your health. You can have your loved one. You can have your friends. You can have your kids. You can have it all. Yes, you might be out of balance here and there, but you know what? At least now you're aware where you are. Because anything, that's the thing. Alcoholics don't give up drinking until they realize they're an alcoholic, right? And so until you have a problem, it's okay. right?
Yeah.
Well, just you invest and watch.
Yeah.
And now, once you're consistent, oh man, amazing things can happen. You could literally lead an army. You could attain every dream possible.
Kalani, I want to dive into just real quick the distinction between these areas of life, right, and taking these small bite-sized actions and like the psychology of performance. You work so much with Tony Robbins and achieving extreme levels of achievement, right? Like where do these two mix? Because what you're sharing, it sounds so simple. It's like, well, is it really that easy, man?
That's a great question, Chris. Because you know what? That's the problem. I call it the spirit of performance.
Yeah.
And that can kill you.
Wow.
Because we're so focused on performing, right? And that actually becomes your idol. Because I got to perform at a high level. Because I had that disease. Wow. I always had to be number one.
Yeah.
If I was number one, Chris, I'd be miserable. Maybe number 2, number 10, I still make great money. But since I'm number one, I went on all these trips, right? I go on these trips. You didn't even want to hang around me because I was a miserable fool because I was number one. Yeah, I'd be complaining. I was like, no wonder no one would want to be my friend, right? I went on all these sales trips, right?
Yeah.
Because I only feel good. I'd only feel good if I was number one. It was so dumb. So for the audience listening, be careful about that spirit of performance, right? One thing is go with the flow. You just be present, right? Because one thing I realized, the faster you go, the more anxiety you're going to create.
Wow.
Just slow down.
Yeah.
Go slow to go fast.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So true. I know some of the biggest builders of companies, right? And that's what they say. Go slow, go fast. Because you got to grow the company, to grow your brand, you have to really take a lot of effort in the beginning. Yeah. But then you can start scaling it. It's easy to scale it once you actually have the right parts. Yes. But if you're going too fast, you're always trying to fix it. You can't scale it while you're fixing it, right? So
I love it. Kalani, this is gold, man. It's been super powerful. Let's tell people how they can stay connected with you. How do they get the book? What do they do next?
Beautiful. Yeah, please, if you can, visit me on Facebook, Kalani Vale, or go to www.returns with an S, returnsonlife.com. You can get my book, right? You can get me. You can get a hold of me. You can call me for some coaching, for speaking, 949-933-6618. Once again, 949-933-6618. And my website is returns with an S onlife.com. Thank you very much, Chris. I am honored to be here. I am humbled that you asked me to do this. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
I'm so stoked to see this brand and this empire, this impact grow for you, and also to see you just keep showing up and be the best dad that you can be for those kids, man. Keep being you. You're crushing it.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, man.
man.
See you soon, okay?
All right. God bless you. Take care.